Good evening, Source Nation, and welcome to Healthy Cooking with me, Chef Keith. This is a show where I will show you how to prepare healthy meals, but before I go any further, let me thank our sponsors who have made this show possible, and they are Scott's Care Foundation, that's Scott's Cares with an S Foundation, Meet My Tice Matchmaking, Urban Grandstand Digital, Cat Photography, Hits Masters, New Covenant of Praise Worship Center, and PS Photography. And welcome again, Source Nation. Thank you for listening to me, Chef Keith. And today's tasty dish will be curried honey mustard chicken with a nice little brown sugar rice pita. It's gonna be delicious and easy. You just wait and see, Source family. Now, first of all, this is a very economical dish, especially for somebody that is actually cooking for a very large family. When I say large, my family is large. I consider it to be large. Or to some of you, maybe it's just medium, but there's 6 of us, 2 adults and 4 children. Now, for those of you that might be a bit larger than that, this is still a great dish. Or even if your family is smaller than that and it's just you, it'll work out as well. Because what I'm going to use is chicken quarters. This is the thigh and the leg, which are both still connected. You can actually get this combo. I actually got a 10-pound bag of chicken quarters for $6. That's right. I don't know, maybe it's just a deal that I got, but I know that dark meat is usually inexpensive. Most people like to purchase white meat with the wings. And the wings right now are the most expensive. Actually, chicken breasts that are not boneless are actually a nice actual buy as well. And for those of you who do like the chicken breast, don't buy the chicken breast that's already deboned, because you're going to pay for the butcher to be able to do that for you. So you get your best bang for your buck if you buy your chicken breast with the bone in, because if you debone it yourself, maybe one day I'll show you how to do that, you actually get the chicken breast and a tenderloin with it as well, so you can actually get 2 meals in one and 2 cuts of chicken. Now, what I'm going to do is first I sprinkled all the chicken quarters with salt and pepper, keeping it real simple. All right, and so in order to make the nice sauce for it, because this dish is very, very easy to do, and it's actually all about the basting process, because this is a long cooking process, so it takes a little patience to be able to do it. But when I say patience, I don't mean it's going to be difficult. I just mean it just takes some time to get ready. So when you got some time to prepare your dinner, this would make a great idea for a Sunday dinner if you're sitting down maybe watching sports or playing cards or having a good time, family time with the family. So what I'm going to do is use about a cup of mustard, and I'm going to use half a stick of butter. Now, if you choose, you can actually pre-melt the butter. Excuse me. You can actually pre-melt the butter if you choose, but I just let my butter soften because I'm basically going to make, this is going to be a bit of a thick mixture. I don't want it as thin as possible, so I want to be able to use these two to basically spread over the chicken. So I'm just going to use just a half of a stick of butter and put in a bowl here with a cup of mustard. All right. And so from there, what I'm going to do is going to take some honey, and of course, many of you know I speak very highly of honey. Of course, if you're allergic to bees or you're allergic to honey, you actually want to skip this step. This could actually still be good without it, with a nice butter mustard glaze. You can actually even substitute it for brown sugar if you chose, if you don't want to have the honey. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a half a cup of honey right here with the mustard. So we're going to use a half a cup of honey. And I'm going to use a cup of mustard, a half a stick of butter. All right, and that honey is moving very slowly, but of course it is honey, so you expect that. And of course, you know, honey is nature's superfood, as if it's stored properly, honey will almost last you forever. bees are magnificent creatures, and we all know, those of you who've been watching the news, that we know that our bees are under extinction and under fire, and we definitely can't let anything happen to our bees because they pollinate actually a third, sometimes even more than that, of the produce that we all eat. So bees actually keep us alive. They're very important to our lifestyle and our living. So you might want to keep an eye on that and make sure that our bees do not go extinct. I know that's a little informational, but it is important. Most people haven't been paying attention, but we have to pay attention. Every creature is necessary for healthy living and for healthy cooking, believe it or not, in some type of way. So from here, I'm going to add a quarter cup. Let's go about a quarter. Yeah, just a third. We're gonna do a third cup of curry powder into this mixture. All right. So now we have a third cup of curry powder. We have a half a stick of butter. We have a cup of mustard. We have a half a cup of honey. And what I'm going to do is just mix everything down here. It's going to take a mashing process, but basically we want to make sure every single bit that is in this this bowl is nice and mixed here. So we're going to keep stirring everything up. Nice and simple there. Alright, we're going to mix it. Make sure you can't tell any difference between the mustard and the honey and the curry powder. Somebody told me today when I was talking to him about the honey mustard curry chicken dish that you could just go to the store and buy some curry sauce and pour it over top of your chicken. But again, for those of you who are interested in homemaking your stuff and actually knowing what's going into your food, homemade cooking to me is always the best way. You can make anything you can buy in a store, and it saves money, because even with these ingredients, I still didn't use all of the ingredients that come in a package. So half a stick of butter, mustard, all those types of things. So yeah, there's an easy way to do things, but there's also a different element of tasty cooking that involves love. And if you don't have love in your dishes, in your cooking, it does not taste as great and fantastic. And those of you who have those grandmothers and aunties who like to cook for you growing up, and those mommies, when they put love in it, which sometimes us folk Source Nation refer to it as putting their foot in something, that means that they've actually put some type of love into the cooking. That means they cared about every little inch of the dish. And for this one, you can see I just took that mixture and poured it over the top of the chicken. I'm actually using, you can see it in the back, there's actually 2 extra chicken thighs. So actually chicken quarters. So there's actually six chicken quarters in here. And I'm just going to take the mixture and dump it down evenly. And what I'm going to do at this point is just spread. There we go. Spread the mixture right over the top of all of our chicken. Alright, and we're going to make this nice and even and coated. Our oven is preheated at 350 degrees. And these are not frozen chicken quarters. These chicken quarters are ready to go. So, you don't want to use frozen for this particular dish. I mean, you can, but, you don't want the outside to cook too fast over the inside. So you want to make sure everything is nice and thawed. But you don't want your chicken sitting out too long, because we definitely want to practice healthy cooking techniques, right? So here I go. I'm going to just paint each piece. I'm going to cover it nice and evenly. All right. Everybody into the pool. because will make like a glaze, and that melted butter will start to cook over the top, and we're gonna go for a nice a literal golden brown color. And there you go. That's gonna be nice and beautiful, and those nice chunks of butter will just explode. Now we actually took the chicken out here in 25 minutes, the first 25 minutes, and I'm going to take a baster. And as you can see, the honey mustard, the curry mustard sauce has sort of cooked down onto the chicken, and the butter and the juices have actually started to cook into the pan. And what I'm going to do here after 25 minutes is take my baster here. There I am. Just making sure we got a good shot of this. And you see that? We're just going to take all those juices from the chicken, and we're going to start to baste the pieces. Now remember, I told you basting is one of the most important portions of this dish, because we're trying to avoid drying the chicken out, but it's a slower process because we're actually going to cook this for an hour and a half. So an hour and a half is going to be nice and gooey and sticky. It's going to be absolutely delicious and golden brown when it's done. And it's a nice way to have a little baked chicken. You want to get away from the fried. This is a nice alternative to that as well. So what I'm going to do here is start basting. So I'm just going to take the juices from inside the pan here. There'll be more juices as the cooking process going on, so don't worry if you don't have a lot. See, you're just going to pour it down on there, and it's just going to start to coat the top of the chicken. So this is at 25 minutes. Nice. And it takes a little bit longer. You're using the dark meat. You can probably cut about 20 minutes off of this if you're actually using chicken breast. So some of you who like the chicken breast, you can cut about 15 to 20 minutes off of the cooking time. But the basting will help so you don't dry your meat out here. So yeah, this is, like I said, this is most of the work. Just watching it, setting your timer, coming back to the oven, and checking your pieces of chicken. Continue to baste. And it's not too spicy too for those of you. And like I said, if you're not a big curry fan, and I'm not talking about Stephen Curry, I'm talking about curry powder. You can just use the honey mustard too. I just thought that actually this dish is an idea that is actually a Rosh Hashanah dish. Which is a Jewish holiday. This is a traditional. This is a spin on traditional Rosh Hashanah dish. If some of you were wondering if you've heard it before, but it's not saying they're the only culture that use it. But this is an old time cooking technique that is easy for you to do. So it's all about the basting. So I'm all done with the basting, and there we go. Like I said, we took about 3 or 4 minutes to do the basting here. And that's all the work. So now we take the chicken out at 30 minutes. We cooked it for 30 minutes here. And see, we continue to baste. You see how the chicken is starting to be golden here? It's got that nice brown color because the nice juices from the chicken that are flowing down the pan, they have all that tasty flavor, all that honey mustard and curry and butter, and you're just gonna just pour it down and baste it all over the top. Nice and delicious. And like I said, this is at 30 minutes, so this would equal 55 minutes. And see, it's not all the way cooked through, but it's almost cooked. But because we're cooking at 350, which is not high heat, it's actually not cooking too quickly. So we're not, and with the basting, we're not really at risk of drying the chicken out because we continue to baste it, and we're not cooking it at a high heat. So we're not cooking it too fast. We're cooking it slow. But of course, of those of you who are not watching the video, which you can find on Keith in the Streets homepage on Facebook, or Healthy Cooking with Chef Keith on the Source Radio Network, you can actually view these videos. But for those of you who have not seen the videos, you're not looking at them, the chicken is not covered up. It's actually left open in sort of a roasting method. Now also with this, you can see I actually added aluminum foil to both pans, and the reason I use that is Well, there's no special cooking technique in it. It just means that it's easier for cleanup. So using the aluminum foil in your pan makes everything nice for cleanup. So I'm just going to continue to baste. In each basting session, I'm just referred to in this section, I'm just making it up as I go, what I want to call it. But this is our basting session. So in a portion of this basting session, basting usually takes about 3 to 5 minutes because you want to continuously douse the chicken with juices because they're hot. And so even in this process, the residual heat from the chicken continues to cook in the hot juices that you're pouring down on them. They're all sort of cooking over the top. And it's a great process. A lot of you use it in during the holidays when you're cooking chicken. Turkey. Sorry about that. But this is a great technique to keep meats moist. So you're not letting them dry out. You're just pouring it over the top. And it's just a way of seasoning the chicken without adding anything else to it. Everything that you added to this chicken was added to it at the very beginning, so you're not adding any type of extra flavors to it. The seasoning just continues to rotate and circulate, and of course everything on the bottom underneath the chicken will actually begin to cook in its own juices as the more juices build up, so that in itself will keep it moist as well. So we just don't want those top pieces to dry out. All right, so there we go. We got the basting done, and look, we took this outsource nation. We did about 25 minutes here. Look at how delicious this chicken looks. Look at the brown golden color. Look at what all that basting has done to the chicken. It gives that nice gloss. Oh my goodness. All my children were coming into the kitchen and they were like, what does that smell? What does that smell? What does that smell? Something smells good in here. There's an aroma that is going throughout the kitchen that is totally amazing. Now, of course, I know a lot of you know how to make rice. You have your own ideas about how to make rice. So I'm going to let you do that. But as you can see, I have a bowl of rice. I just put a little bit of butter in here just to start coating the rice. All right. And in the little half a cup I have here, I have a 1/3 cup of brown sugar. I have some nutmeg and some cinnamon and some allspice. So there's probably a teaspoon of allspice, a teaspoon of well, actually no, there's a tablespoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of allspice. And we're going to use a teaspoon of nutmeg. And I'm just going to go ahead, after I put the butter to coat, a little butter to coat all of the rice, I'm just going to toss the rice. And like I said, with this heat we coated it with the butter, but when you put this mixture down on top of the rice, the rice starts to absorb because it's still hot. It starts to absorb all these flavors from the sweetness that I'm adding in here. So you can see the rice starting to brown as I keep tossing it, and you can see the heat, just the steam just coming off the rice. And you're talking about how good that chicken smelled. The way this rice smell right now, the brown sugar, the allspice, the cinnamon, the nutmeg. I mean, this is fantastic. This is a fantastic smell for your kitchen. We got the honey mustard, curry chicken. We got the rice, the sweet rice that we're making. It's all smelling very tasty, especially to those of you who have a nice sweet tooth. But of course, this is not too sweet. And of course, I like to use dark brown sugar because it reminds me of my wife, if I must say so, because she's sweet and she's brown like the brown sugar. So I'm just going to continue to toss everything here, nice and easy. I didn't use all the mixture. I just mix it together, so you don't have to use every bit of it. I was just showing everybody how to make that mixture here. Nice and easy. And of course, here we are. We have our green onions that I just chopped up and just laid over the top of the chicken. I made a nice, beautiful brown sugar rice bowl over the top, and I added some nice fresh greens, all on the plate, straight like this. This is healthy, this is beautiful, this is tasty, this is healthy cooking with Chef Keith. So there you have it, another simple meal. Now, wasn't that easy? And Once you finish it up, you'll find out just how tasty it will be. But before we go, I just want to thank our sponsors who make this show possible. And that's Scott Cares Foundation, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Cat Photography, Urban Grandstand Digital, Hits Masters, New Covenant of Praise Worship Center, and PS Photography. So tune in next week with the Source Radio Network with me, Chef Keith, as I'll show you how to make tasty and very affordable gourmet style meals in your very own kitchen. Easy, affordable, gourmet style cooking is as close to you as you are to your kitchen. I'll see you next week.